Well, okay. What's up? We're back again. Outside the Cinema. Your hosts, Bill and Chris.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. Not much.
You don't know?
Yeah. It's fine.
I think we're streaming on YouTube now again. I redid the settings.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're on Twitch too apparently. So I just got a thing that says your source for cult movie discussion is now live on Twitch.
Okay.
I don't remember setting it up for Twitch, but all right. Whatever works. Welcome back to the show. This week, two
movies.
Yeah, I guess these are two really good examples of the like video store trash from their time periods. We are doing 1993's Snapdragon, starring Stephen Bauer, Chelsea Field, and of course Pamela Anderson. And then we're also covering something called Destroyer from 1988, starring Lyle Alzado.
Yeah.
So those are both things that we're going to talk about today. Yeah, the stuff like this is like I obviously have a love and a hate relationship with the stuff like this.
Yeah.
So it's the type of thing where like I definitely remember Snapdragon being on the shelf at Blockbuster when we worked together, and fucking horny guys fucking going nuts over it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it's the type of thing where a little bit of revisiting the past, I guess, if you would.
Okay.
I don't have anything else currently got to talk about really.
Yeah.
Got some new projects they'll be firing up. Don't forget to leave. Hopefully, should be in the can officially in the next few weeks. So I really can just plug the Patreon here. I want to send a thank you out to Dave. Dave shot out a glad you're feeling better. Thanks for all the work. So thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Patreon.com/outside the cinema. It's funny when I plug it on a day where we're recording a show like at like a time we wouldn't normally.
Yeah.
We normally record on Monday mornings.
Right.
It is Wednesday morning at the time of recording. And if you're watching the show live, that's where that is. Just, life gets in the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's always like, hey, one of the things that I always plug with the Patreon is that you get the show early. Not this week, apparently, but if you could still like to help out, that would be great. The Patreon is patreon.com/outside the cinema. All the money we generate goes right back into keeping the podcast alive. And that is it. And that is all.
Yeah.
So what about you? You got anything to talk about here? It'd be interesting.
Not really. Yeah, it's just kind of a boring week.
It is like, I'm on vacation next week. I'm away all week. And the week before a vacation is always very strange, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're like sort of trying to like to get all your ducks in a row, and
yeah.
But at the same time, like I've also felt like this vacation was next week for the last like 6 months.
Yes.
So, and I screwed up last week. I told you, I'm like, we got to record on Saturday because I'm away next week. And then I think I said something to Travis, and he's like, Dad, we don't leave for another week. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So we're going to have to turn around and bang out another show on Saturday or Sunday of this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we'll figure that out off the air. That's not of your concern. Not of your concern, I say. What is your concern, though? Is it Pamela Anderson's breasts in 1993?
No. What?
Because it was a lot. Well, maybe not for you, but there was a lot of people that were very concerned about it.
That's true.
And this film, Snapdragon, features them. It was her feature film debut, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I read.
Yeah, I read it too. So, all right, let's play the trailer for Snapdragon.
Because I don't know anything about this other than...
In the ancient Far East, one could trade flesh for money. And youthful innocence was worth its weight in gold. Today in the West, not much has changed, but the victim is no longer innocent, and flesh has become a weapon.
I'm intrigued by the oriental overtones of this thing. The candles. Black silk cloth over the face.
Which means?
The ending of life on a sexual high.
Say memo.
Exactly.
What you're dealing with is some cuckoo crackpot broad that gets her rocks off by slicing some guy's throat while he's getting his off.
What do you think, Doc?
Don't ask me.
What'd you think about that blonde Jane Doe? Found her at the beach a couple of nights ago at the bottom of a cliff.
Came by your place last night.
Yeah, I was with a patient.
After midnight?
She's got something inside her so deep, so ugly that she doesn't want to dredge it out.
It's like she's inside of me.
The desire for pleasure is a warrant for murder, and those seeking truth become prey. Stephen Bauer, Chelsea Field, Pamela Denise Anderson, and Matt McCoy. Snapdragon.
Pamela Denise Anderson, not Stephen Bauer is the main star in this. He is probably best known as Manny from Scarface. He was in Traffic and like Primal Fear, and he still does a lot of like TV work now. Chelsea Fields is another face you will recognize. She was Tila in Masters of the Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she was the flight attendant in Commando.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of other stuff. She's done. I mean, she still does a lot of TV work too, on like stuff like NCIS and like all of those types of shows. So, but she's a recognizable face. You'll if you watch movies in the 80s and the early 90s, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember her. But regardless of the movie, when you're watching it, is the pull is Pamela Anderson. This is a film that was made just as her Baywatch star was rising. And as we said earlier, it's her feature film. It was her feature film debut. And it's a very like, it's a very interesting piece. It's not necessarily a great film. I don't think we're going to spoil anybody's expectations, but like, it's a really interesting timepiece, I think, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Because
I was worried about where you were going with this.
Oh, no. And this is not a good film. And again, like I said, I don't think anyone is picking this up being like, oh, I bet this is fucking killer. But there's actually some interesting things going on. It's a very kind of standard thriller with, a couple twists and turns and some cops and, there's a serial killer and it's a whodunit. In very like cheap fashion, they give you a swerve at the end of it that you can't really predict that was coming because it's one of those, like, it's almost like the Giallo rule of like, they introduce the killer, like, and then you're like, who is this person?
Right,
like, this is a little more creative than just some random person thrown in, but like, you're still like, there's been no inkling of this through the entire film. Where did you come up with this?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, I'll just get this out of the way here. Softcore porn is the most useless thing ever.
Oh, did you consider this softcore porn?
It is considered that.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. There's way too much story going on to rake this up against like the Red Shoe Diaries or one of those.
Nah.
There's way too much story.
There's way too much sex for it not to be. And it's that shitty sex where you only see sides of boobs and everybody has sheets over them.
So it's very Cinemax.
It's pointless. It's always been pointless. There's porn. And then there's varying degrees of that. But it just it interrupted the whole movie. Either make a porn or make a fucking mystery. You have 20 minutes of a story that you can't sell to fucking Magnum PI this week, so you just put in 4 sex scenes that are 8 minutes long apiece. Now you got a full movie. It's lazy to me. It all seems lazy and it's exploitive.
I'm not going to deny
for the men and women.
that.
I'm not just. It's just. This feels like and it was probably shot on video. I would guess based on how it looked. This is the shit that's left over when Blockbuster closes. This is the stuff that's sent to landfills. Nobody wants this. Can you tell I was not interested in this at all?
No, I wouldn't have expected you to be. But here's the thing, man. When we worked at Blockbuster and this was out, this rented all the time.
It did.
All the time.
Yeah, but you saw the Who.
Yeah, I mean, horny 14-year-old boys and gross 40-year-old men. Yeah. No in between.
Yeah.
But the thing was, like, you got to put yourself into 1993 mindset here. You know, we're not really using the internet yet. There's not there's no cell phones. The way to see Pamela Anderson naked was to rent Snapdragon and freeze frame like the one shot where she's topless. And that was a thing, obviously, because we weren't so inundated with like nudity and sex scenes. And like, it was like, we make that joke now of like, I'm a grown man. I've seen naked women, but you got to remember back then it wasn't like it is now. I'm not, and it may sound like I'm defending it. I'm not defending it. It's not a good movie.
No, I totally understand the whole, that's the level of the way you could get it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But when this came out, like I was old enough to like just buy porn,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's an age thing. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But I will say the director of this, Worth Keeter, he made Snapdragon and he worked on Silk Stockings.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And then his other big gig was working on Power Rangers for a number of years.
Huh.
Yeah. We're talking the classic US version of the 1994, 95, 96 Power Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah, and he worked on Wild Force. He worked on Time Force. Light Speed Rescue. Tons of Power Ranger stuff.
Huh.
And this. And Silk Stockings. That's bizarre to me. That's bizarre. We haven't even talked about what this movie's about.
Nothing. It's about this woman. That's it. That's because it focuses on her.
Sort of.
I have no time. I have no time for this movie today.
At times it focuses on her. So we open up with, I guess, what is supposed to be these missionaries like in the jungles somewhere in Asia. And these people come in and they kill the parents and they kidnap the daughter. The daughter ends up being the Pamela Anderson character, Felicity. She's sold into some sort of white slavery sort of ring.
Yeah, they were never clear on that. They were
No, it was definitely supposed to be some sort of like sex ring or like, human trafficking thing. Like that was clear.
Yeah.
Human trafficking was very clear from the get-go, and then as the kind of thing goes on, we know they were sold into like a white slavery sex ring.
Yeah.
So we then fast forward into modern day LA. There is a serial killer that is a hot blonde that is killing men during intercourse using a mouth guard with a razor blade attached to it. Apparently, they give it a name it's like this old Asian weapon that was used by geishas to murder noblemen, I don't know.
Oh.
They start to dig in. Like I will give them props for the fact that they tried.
That's fair.
They tried. They took out some books at points and were like looking into the history of the weapon, and that means, which brings us to our next point. Again, 1993.
Yeah.
Rampant use of the word Oriental.
Yeah. This was like, I'm not making
you heard it in the trailer.
I'm not making excuses for racist stuff, but I know that the terminology that was what was how different groups of people would agree.
Yeah.
You know, African American is now, okay, good, we got that. And now it's indigenous. Sorry, what was it? Native. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But it's not
No, but
it's
I
not
actually- I'm
the
following.
names that like we, you know. So there was a while, I want to say in the 70s and mid 80s, where Oriental was almost like you remember when Egyptian stuff was really big in the late 70s, like King Tut's picture was everywhere. It was that kind of thing where everybody got interested in Oriental.
They were like doing the science tours with like the sarcophaguses and stuff.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing, and then you know, Asia is not just Japan and China and Korea. It's also India. So it's like, you know,
Nobody ever talks about Mongolia.
Say that. Well, that you know, they needed a wall to stay out. Once he went back in time, was that Attila the Hun? I don't even know. Anyway, this movie's dumb.
Are you talking about Genghis Khan
Go
from
on.
Bill and Ted's? Is that what you're trying to talk about?
Oh yeah, it was.
All right.
It was Genghis Khan, dude.
And he totally ravaged a sport. What was the sporting goods store?
I forget.
Milton Sporting Goods Store. But yeah, 1993. That was a term that was used liberally. Actually, maybe not so much in '93. I feel like that's probably around the time
it was
stopped
falling
getting-
off. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's used like a lot in this movie.
Yes. Yes.
So it's kind of weird. Again, time period. At the time, they were doing nothing wrong, but now you watch it and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. You just kind of
But again,
cringe a little at
So,
it.
so we're fast forwarded. These murders are happening. We meet Chelsea Field's character, Sergeant Peckham, and her boyfriend, played by Stephen Bauer, which is David Hogstradden. They're a couple. He is a psychiatrist that works for the police department, and she is a detective that is getting moved over to homicide. We're introduced to her doing a sex sting. She's supposed to be she's standing in as a prostitute, and they're busting guys. Very like in the most 80s thing, like prostitution. John's getting busted in an 80s movie is like that's like a thing. Like it happens all the time.
It is, and it's always done so poorly.
So poorly.
Yeah.
Like if it was to try to if you were to go to court over a lot of those cases, you're winning that case if you're the John because there's just so many things that are just like that wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Johns and getting caught, I just want to point this out. Did you happen to see that second Borat movie?
Yes.
There's the footage of Giuliani with the girl, and he's, Giuliani played it off after. It's like, oh, I was just tucking my. There was a report of him with people in hotel rooms before. So that was not a one-time thing where he could get away with it because he did it after.
I mean, what a fuck! That guy's such a fucking creep.
I honestly think his brain got fried at some point.
For a guy that America very much got behind after 9/11 and really seemed like he was doing the right things and saying the right things, you see him now and you're just like, what is this ghoul? Like, who is this ghoul? Where did he come from?
It's like he's got dementia and he's just going off about whatever. It's fascinating and sad to watch at the same time. But anyway.
It is. Much like this movie.
Oh my God, yes.
So we know the killer's out there. We know the doctor and the detective are together. She's working the case. He has a buddy that's played by Matt McCoy, who's always, I love when Matt McCoy shows up. He's one of my favorite actors. He plays another psychiatrist. They then do exactly what you would expect. He asks his friend David to help him with this girl, and the girl is Pamela Anderson's character. And again, things that just drive me nuts. She has amnesia. She can't remember anything. Yeah. She can't remember her name. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
But yet, she has an apartment that she lives in. She like has a job and she goes to work every day.
Yeah.
So like, if she can't remember anything, where did this apartment come from?
Well, see,
how did she know that she has to go to work?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. She's pretty. She's a woman, and she's white in the 90s.
She's technically
all paid for.
Sincerely, like not sincerely is not the word, but like she was the hottest woman on the planet at the time. Like collectively, the world decided Pamela Anderson is the best looking woman on the planet.
I, you know what? I actually liked how she looked facial wise in this one.
She looked more human in this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well,
I don't like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't like to like say, but like she got so overdone in that time period. She's still pretty young in this. It's 93. So she's probably like in her early to mid 20s. God bless her, man. She's just not a good actress.
Not here.
She's just not. No, she never has been.
Oh, I'm not. I don't watch anything that she's in. I can only judge this.
Yes.
So.
I mean, I've watched Baywatch. I still enjoy watching Baywatch.
I never.
But Baywatch is so campy that like
it works. Yeah.
Her bad acting plays well because they're like, all right, well, go and like, and I don't know if you watched the Pam and Tommy series.
No.
Despite the fact that she and Tommy were very much against it, I thought it was quite good. And I watched the documentary about her on Netflix too, which actually was really good.
I think I watched that because I was more interested in that than what kind of
her side of the story. It was really good. It was done really well. But like the way that the Baywatch thing was portrayed in Pam and Tommy sounds kind of like it was. They were very much just like, we don't want you to talk. Just stand over there in the swimsuit. So it's you know. It is what it is. They were getting off the point. Getting back to Snapdragon, though, she's not good in this, and she's asked to do some fairly quote unquote, and you can see me doing the air quotes, quote unquote serious acting, and she just doesn't have the chops for it.
No, she doesn't.
So, of course, Dr. David is helping her and becomes obsessed with her.
Yeah, because see the 3 reasons I listed earlier.
Yes, 3 reasons listed above. Feel free to rewind and go back. And then, of course, it firebombs his relationship with the detective because she's investigating the case. And, of course, it looks like she's good for these murders.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't remember anything. There's, you know, the history, again, I will say it, Oriental overtones. And then as the kind of story starts to unfold, there's some twists and turns. They throw, as I said earlier, like a left turn into a fucking wall of a twist at the end of it. Which I got to admit, I had watched this when I was younger because I at one point was a 14-year-old horny boy too. I didn't remember what the twist was. And when it happened, I was surprised by it, mostly because I was like, there was no inkling that this would ever be the twist.
Yeah, that's the difficult part with a twist. It's either got to make complete sense within the story you've told, so you don't have to actually see it or anything, but it has to be plausible, or you hint the fuck out of it, but really well. And then when it shows up, everybody goes, "Oh yeah, of course."
Right. Well, they did give you one hint in this, but there was literally no way to catch it because they show it to you again.
Okay.
When they give the reveal, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, like that's. Okay, yeah, technically you gave a hint, but like there was no way to attach what was happening there. So anyway, and it kind of plays itself out exactly kind of the way you would think it would. This is very much video store wall filler from 1993. We know that Pamela Anderson is hot, and we know that we're going to get kids that are going to come in and rent this to see her boobs.
Yep.
And you do see them.
Yeah. You
do see them. But again, when you're 13, 14 years old and you've never seen a pair of boobs and it's 1993 and you can see Pamela Anderson's boobs, that is a very different story.
Yeah.
She had probably done Playboy by this point, right?
No idea.
Because she did Playboy before she got popular, I thought.
I have no idea. I could find out.
You watched the documentary too, man. You're supposed
to. That doesn't mean I remember it. Jesus. I keep forgetting I have an appointment tomorrow. I keep forgetting that. So let me see. Pam. Let me screw up my whole Google search algorithm here. Not that there's anything. October 1989
Oh, okay, yeah,
was
well
the
before
first
it then.
cover. So, I mean, if she's on the cover, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that whole story of her, living in Canada and her boyfriend sending the photos in, and that was her, right? Yeah, that was her.
I have no idea. Honestly, I know nothing about this
Again,
woman.
I watched the Pam and Tommy, and then I also watched the documentary on her. So I apparently know more about Pamela Anderson than I should. But finishing up Snapdragon before we grade it, it's that wall filler from that time period that was the one that was like, we're gonna get people are gonna buy this, and people are gonna rent it, and then we'll be able to spin it on Cinemax late at night for at least 4 or 5 years, because there was definitely she got so big that like the name appeal alone, and they did a really good job with the VHS box art where they have her scantily clad on the front of it and then the other characters behind her. Like it worked perfectly for what they were trying to do. But again, I don't think any of us are surprised that the movie's not good.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't think they expected it to be.
That wasn't the plan, at least. Let's see here. Let's hit this one. Nope. All right, Chris. Do you recommend and was your grade for 1993's Snapdragon?
No. And it's not even a mean no recommend. It's just like, there's really no point to this at all. Like, this isn't even like a beginner anything. If you're one of Pam Anderson's stalkers, then this movie is for you. Otherwise, I don't know anyone that would want to sit down to enjoy it. You watch it for whatever reasons, making fun of, masturbating. I don't give a shit. It's not a good movie. So as a fake internet critic, don't watch it. It's a D. It's well made for the piece of crap that it is. Lighting was very good, and that's, that can make or break the romantic scenes, and they did fine.
All right.
Meh.
All right. I won't be quite that harsh on it. I'm not fooling anybody. I don't think it's not a good film. And I'm not gonna recommend it, but I will say that if you are a fan of like that kind of direct-to-video, and I don't know whether this actually was direct-to-video or if they tried to do a release on it or what, but
hold on, let me do another search for Pam Anderson. I'll find out.
But they definitely knew that this was going to be video store. It was going to be where you were going to make your money on it.
Yeah.
So if you love that aesthetic of like that direct-to-video, like cheesy, like there's a budget, but it's not great, like. There's some good. I mean, there are some good films from that time period in that world. So this isn't necessarily one of them. It's one thing is that it has Pamela Anderson in it naked. So or if you're like a really big Scarface fan and you want to follow everything Stephen Bauer's done, maybe. But I can't give it a recommend. And as far as a grade, I'm gonna give it a C-. I don't think it deserves a D. I think everyone was doing their best that they could. The actors, I think, that were involved were working hard. The problem is the director didn't really give any spice to this. His thing was like, we have Pamela Anderson and she said that she in her contract would do one scene nude. So that's what we got. Let's hang our hat on that. And that's what it is. So a D and a C- for Snapdragon, which you can watch right now for free on Tubi.
Yeah. So good for them. No, I'm not making fun of them. I mean, they provided it, so thank you.
I'm sure this movie made somebody money, like made somebody good money.
Oh, I'm trying to find that out. Yeah.
I can't imagine who, but
no.
The producer, maybe? This had to be like a Vidmark release or something, I bet. Vidmark, man, that's one of my favorite ones.
Such garbage.
Oh, and didn't Vidmark eventually become Lionsgate or get bought by Lionsgate or something?
I have no idea. Huh.
All right. Well, speaking of no idea, the next one here is 1988's Destroyer, starring Anthony Perkins, of all people.
Right, yeah.
And Lyle Alzado. Let me play you guys a trailer here.
electric chair. To an ordinary man, it's the end. But when serial killer Ivan Mosier sat down, he was just getting warmed up.
So what you're telling me is that Mosier's still alive? I'm telling you, Ivan Mosier is half alive.
Now he's half the man, twice the animal. Unstoppable, unbelievable, indestructible.
Maybe he's like that guy in the Halloweens that keeps getting killed, so he doesn't know if he's dead or just dreaming.
Where is everybody?
Everyone thought he'd just die. But no one ever dreamed he'd become Destroyer, the perfect killing machine.
All right. Destroyer 1988, directed by Robert Kirk. What do you remember Robert Kirk from? Nothing.
Good.
That's not true.
That
He
was
actually
my
worked
answer.
as a... Well, he worked on some documentary. He did actually a decent amount of documentary work in like a production role. Still to this day, I think he works on a lot of Discovery Channel stuff. Those like he's been working on those Shock docs. They did like the real Amityville Horror and like all that stuff.
Okay.
As a producer. But Destroyer, first of all, killer fucking trailer for this movie. Like that's exactly what you want for a trailer from this movie.
Yeah.
Like a no budget, no name. Well, I shouldn't say no name, but like, you know, slasher flick that is just like out there. Like,
yeah.
Box art is amazing too. The poster art, it's got, I guess, what's supposed to be Lyle Alzado's body, but there's like a skull face instead, and he's got like lightning coming down his arms.
Yep.
And he's holding, I guess, a jackhammer with a laser sight on it. Are you looking at this, by the way?
I am. Isn't that that's a Gatling gun on the top? Gatling gun?
No.
Is it a
gun there?
scope? What is that on the top?
It's a laser scope because there's the red thing coming out of it.
Oh, I thought it was a Gatling gun, and in the middle of the post in the middle that it rotates with, I thought that was the laser sight, because then it's like the bullet's like there in the ring. I don't know what I'm thinking.
No, it's a laser sight.
I see it. It's just a real
attached to a
shitty picture
jackhammer.
that I'm looking at here.
It's amazing, though.
No, the picture I'm looking at
3,000
is
volts.
bad.
Oh, okay. 3,000 volts couldn't kill him. It just gave him a buzz. Destroyer. They never dreamed he'd become the perfect killing machine.
Yeah.
A plus on the trailer and A plus on the artwork. Starring Deborah Foreman as Susan, Clayton Rohner as David, Lyle Alzado as Ivan Mosier, and Anthony Perkins as Robert Edwards. And let us not forget Jim Turner as Rewire.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Pauly Shore's whole deal came from Jim Turner's character in this film. Story is simple. You got Ivan Mosier. He is a serial killer who has killed a whole bunch of people. He is scheduled for his execution. They try to execute him in the electric chair, but because he's so big and burly, they have to turn the power up too much and it shorts everything out.
Yeah. Because that's how they execute people, by slowly turning the dial and torturing them to death with the electricity.
Yes.
It's not a
exactly
switch
what happened.
that sends 1 or 2 or 3 pulses through the person and instantly stops their heart or whatever. No, it's slow. I understand why he's so mad. If I was executed like that, I'd come back too.
Yeah, seriously. So that happens. The power goes out in the prison and a giant riot breaks out. A whole bunch of people get killed in the riot. Guards, prisoners, everybody.
Yep.
And then we fast forward a number of years and Anthony Perkins. Like, how the fuck did Anthony Perkins end up in this movie?
Well, I mean, he can't just rest on Psycho 1 and 2 and The Black Hole. Come on.
No, he's been in so much more stuff than that, man.
I know. But
He was
that's
in
what I'm
Psycho
saying.
3 also.
I wasn't sure about that, but he's got to work, and maybe this was an easy job, or he thought the role of playing an over-the-top director would have been fun. Who knows?
And also, he was in Psycho 4.
Oh, wow.
That's, I think, the next series we should have Joe watch is the Psycho series. I don't think I realized there was 4 of them.
All right.
Either way. Anyway, sorry. Getting back to Destroyer. Anthony Perkins is an amazing actor, and he chews up scenery in this like nobody's business as the angry director. So a film crew is now moved into the old prison to film. It's got to be like a women in prison flick because of the way it's being treated.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You got Sharon Fox, who's the big star, and she's being roughed up by all the people and stuff. And then we got Susan Malone, who is the stunt actress. And then we got David Harris, who is the writer. And they're just all there. And so David and Susan are together, and then they're making this movie. And Anthony Perkins is killing it as the director. Laney Garrett plays Sharon. She's the big time actress that's there, and she definitely like again another one that just chews up the scenery in the role of like just being so over the top, but also like exactly what it should be.
Yeah, it's camp. This whole movie is just camp
Super
on
campy.
display, and if you take that into mind, it's not so bad. It's not good, but if it's camp you're going after,
right? This is
a good one.
This is the right type of terrible.
Yeah.
Because anyone who doesn't know who Lyle Alzado is a former professional football player. He passed away a number of years ago now at this point. 1992.
Oh.
Actually, not long after this was made.
Wow.
Just a few years after this was made. But he was a defensive lineman who played in the NFL. I think definitely played for the Raiders. But he was one of those first guys that they basically like were like, this dude is a fucking steroid freak. And he's fucking insane because he's a steroid freak.
Right.
And the second he steps into this film, you're like, oh shit, this dude is fucking crazy.
These people are
He's got
not
these
safe.
These eyes that are just like bulging out of his head, and just like the pure enjoyment he has, just like stalking the grounds. Like, it's so over the top and so ridiculous and so perfect for him.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Like, he's sitting there, like, watching the TV, and we come to find out he's watching a game show, and that he murdered the girl that was, like, the Vanna White person on the game show, which was a nice kind of little twist there. Well, not really a twist, but, like, a nice little detail.
Yeah.
That they kind of threw in there, and they get him in that electric chair, and he starts freaking out when they're electrocuting him. And, like, this is not a character I want to see more of. I'm not like I don't need Destroyer 2.
No.
I'm glad that never got made. But like, he's perfect for this role in this movie. Just so buff and like huge, and just fucking those crazy fucking eyes, Chris. Man.
Yeah.
And he's kind of silly too. Like, he got it. Like, he totally understood what he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, he kills the cop. He kills a cop. So he's been hiding in the like the bowels of the prison.
Yeah.
And again, another thing that I was kind of like, well, how the fuck did he get there, and how did he survive? And then they throw in a little thing of like another character, and you're like, oh, okay, now that all of my questions were just answered. Like, thank you. That's like, I don't need to know about the amnesia and how she has an apartment. But like, this one little dump of one line is like, okay, now I understand why Ivan Mosier is in the prison and he's not dead. Great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he kills a cop, and then he puts on the cop uniform, and it's too small. And so he obviously puts the jacket on, and then like next time you see him, there's a giant rip down the back of the jacket just to show that like he's way bigger than the dude.
I had to think for a second. I'm like, did he kill that cop with a shotgun? I cannot remember. I had to go back. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, man. It's everything you want in one of these. Like, if you're gonna be like, I want to watch it like a random. People always talk about what's a great slasher that doesn't have like the big three. You know, it's not Michael Myers, it's not Jason, it's not Freddy.
Yeah.
I think this is in that conversation for like a real great's probably not the word to use, but like in the conversation for like, this film is a lot of fun.
I'm grudgingly coming over to your side, because when I first watched it, it was just bad. It was just a bad movie with bad acting.
until you realize what you're watching, right? Is that kind of how it worked?
Well, once he came back, because he gets this, he's got this genetic defect that makes him whatever. I don't give a shit. He's back. That's fine. It worked for Shocker, which clearly is a ripoff of Destroyer, but whatever. That's fine.
Neither here nor there.
Once he came back, and I'm like, oh, I see what world we're living in. Okay, fine. And I just went with it. I'm like, he's over the top. The woman, the redheaded actress, is just a diva making a women in prison movie. So, like, this is caricature. I get it. Fair enough. And then once
Anthony Perkins, man.
Oh,
Anthony
he was.
Perkins.
I liked him as a shitty director.
I questioned why he was there, and I mean I still do question why he was there, but when he was there, killed it.
Well, I had read something that they had somebody else like surprising. So hold on a second, let me check this, and then I'll pop in when I have that because I have to type. Am I supposed to? You want me to do the thing where I talk about the thing with the grade?
I was checking to see we are live on Twitch, so
oh great,
so that works. So yeah.
All right.
So the one person that's watching it.
Yes. Anthony Perkins replaced Roddy McDowall on short notice.
Roddy McDowall, okay. I could see him doing that role for sure.
Yeah. And 89, they would have worked together in the Black Hole, so maybe McDowall just, suggested him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, so I mean, it plays out exactly the way you would expect. It's an old prison, so there's a lot of like running down long halls with lights from the background illuminating everything, but like no understanding of where the light source would be coming from.
Yeah.
But either way, it looks cool because there's all those doors and you get the light piercing through the doors. So like it looks cool. Doesn't matter where it came from. Yeah, this is just schlocky and like, man, Lyle Alzado, man. It's a bummer. He died of like, if I'm not mistaken, like some kind of like weird like cancer or something that a lot of people attributed to his steroid use. But he was great in this. He was great.
Let's see. His IMDb, yeah, that's it. Page says brain cancer. Let's see if there's more details. He blamed his cancer on steroid use.
Oh, okay.
Denver Broncos, Cleveland Browns, Raiders. Yeah. And he's buried in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
Cool.
And the football field that he played on is now a minimum security federal prison. So maybe he'll come back to the prison and show up and be like,
it's been a while.
Well,
I think he would have been there already.
He's taking his time.
But the other thing that's really funny when you kind of start to think about it is like he is like so like ripped and he's fucking oiled up the whole time.
Yeah.
Like insane definition in his muscles and like ready to hit the ring at any point. Like half the time I expected him to call out like Hulk Hogan or something. Like he was so ripped.
Yeah, and all they really did for him was put some bad application on his face that totally didn't match his skin tone or color or texture to show where he was, burned?
Electrocuted,
Sure.
I guess, yeah.
Sure. I don't even remember if they used that bulge by his left eye as like a little port for a squib or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Didn't
though.
seem like it. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Damn it, I keep getting the wrong one. That works then. All right, Chris, do you recommend and what is your grade for Destroyer?
I mean, as a movie, as a regular movie, no, it's not. It's not a watch it alone kind of movie, but this is a better one. I like your idea of it being on the list of not terrible, but not great slashers that people want something different from. So it's more thought out than a lot of the other direct-to-video stuff, like Sledgehammer.
I love Sledgehammer though.
I know you. But I think I'll go with a C- because I do appreciate that everybody understood the tone of the movie. But I think overall it just wasn't there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think this is definitely one that like you probably don't want to watch like just on your like you can watch it on your own if you like got a buddy that's gonna watch it and you guys can like talk about it afterwards, or you're having friends over and you're having like a bad movie party or whatever. Because this is the right type of terrible. It's absolutely the right type of terrible for exactly that type of scenario.
Right.
As long as you're going to discuss it later, or if you do a podcast and you want to like it's great for that because it's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Lyle Alzado is the star of the show. Anthony Perkins is there to ham it up too, and then everyone knew their part. So I agree with all of that. I'm going to give it a straight C. It is again not a well-made movie, not a ton of money put into it, but there's some really fun stuff. Like they get this body double. Not a body double. They get this doll.
Yeah.
That's supposed that is going to be they're going to put into the electric chair for the scene in the movie, and like they talk about this doll like it's like another person, and like they all want to have sex with the doll. Like,
yeah. The first questions were, is this anatomically? It's like, no, dude, come on.
Does it have any ports?
Yeah. I got a squib I got to install.
Yeah, I'll tell you where you can put that squib.
Yeah, and then the one thing I didn't understand is why did they allow it to melt?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna elaborate on that, but it's
they tried to turn it off, but like for whatever reason they couldn't turn it off, and so that was why it melted.
All right.
They're like, turn it off. He's like, I can't.
Yeah, the director's
Buddy.
the director must be, I don't know, maybe the guy was thinking a little bit of Kubrick in there because. They definitely shocked the actress.
For sure.
Not in real life, but in the movie, shocked the actress that was supposed to be sitting in a deactivated electric chair. I would have quit.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Didn't she quit? She did quit.
Oh yeah,
that was when she was like, I'm out of here.
right. That was the straw. It wasn't something. Yeah. But no, that's good. That's realistic, at least. In a movie about a roid monkey that comes back from the dead to take vengeance on people that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, just watch this for Lyle Alzado's crazy eyes. It's worth the stream on Tubi just to see his crazy eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of crazy eyes, I'm sure Joe has them. It's been a while since I've seen him face to face, but I'm sure he has them. Let's see what he's talking about this week.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris, and hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here, and Bill took me to the land of poutine this week. So he made me watch Scanners 2, The New Order. Probably slightly better than the alternate title, Scanners 2, Joy Division. Okay, sometimes the universe provides. I thought of that reasonably funny New Order, Joy Division joke while Googling Christian Duguay, the director of Scanners 2, since Cronenberg doesn't really do sequels, but studios who own the rights to things do. And what do I find but 2015's Christian Duguay-directed story about a boy and his dog called Belle and Sebastian. Dude directed a film called New Order, and then like a couple decades later made a film called Belle and Sebastian. Like, if this dude's film catalog became sentient, it would just hang out in coffee houses at 2 a.m., smoking clove cigarettes and, like, looking down on people who like popular music. Not that I know what that kind of person is like, and I certainly wasn't that person in my early 20s. Certainly not.
No.
Okay, I was. Definitely. But listen, we all go through an asshole phase at some point, and that was mine.
No.
I'm now walking into this movie a little suspect because his IMDb page reads like a guy who either picks up where others left off, he directed the TV series for both The Hitcher and The Hunger, or the guy who only does TV movies. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, still. Oh, one more thing. He's from Quebec. Now, I'm not trying to malign anyone from Quebec, but only 2 good things have ever come out of Quebec, and they're tag team champions.
This is true.
Are you a tag team champion, Christian Duguay?
You could be.
I didn't think so. Also, early prediction. I think this movie is going to be French as fuck.
I hope so.
So we fade up on a homeless guy who is obviously a scanner getting tailed by the pigs. So he ducks into an arcade. Oh, and oh boy, was this bitch made in 1990 or what? If listen, if you were an arcade nerd like me in the late 80s, early 90s, you will recognize at least a handful of these games. You'll also recognize that someone wearing the full Canadian tuxedo with a feathered mullet and a mustache so thin that it would give John Waters a mega boner was not out of place at all. So he gets overwhelmed by all the noise and the voices in people's heads, and then he pulls a carry, except it's on the machines. The people all bail quickly, which is good because with that amount of flammable hair product these trend slaves are wearing, this place could go up like Hiroshima. Interestingly enough, this feels a lot like The Fly 2, where someone took a great Cronenberg film and said, well, why don't we focus on the evil government lab exploiting the technology from the first film? I mean, hell, the main dude here even says that he feels more comfortable around animals than humans, which I'm pretty sure was something that Eric Stoltz said verbatim in The Fly 2. Holy shit, I think this might be the first example, like ever, of one of those silent raves. You know, that kind of like cool but also kind of stupid thing where like everybody goes to like a dance club but there's no sound because everybody's wearing headphones and they dance around like buffoons in a silent room. Our main character, whose name I haven't even bothered to learn or look up, joins in, and the keyboard player is like really into acid jazz. Well, either that or he's having a seizure on the keys, or maybe he's just expressing the song of his heart. But either way, it kind of sucks, and it sends our scanner dude into like a scanner frenzy. Like, oh no, our main guy is a scanner. Who could have seen that coming? What follows is 90-ish minutes of exactly what you'd expect, both in a good way and a bad way. David, I expended just enough energy to pay attention to his name when somebody said it, is first brought into the scanner program being run by the big evil lab, as well as a guy who has that Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, let's face it, Hitler mindset. And he makes David scan the mayor into naming him the chief of police instead of the obvious candidate. Because he wants to, like, you know, just blanket rid everything of crime, not caring about the causes of crime. He just, you know, he just wants to be in charge of shit. Now, I am firmly a cab, but this guy rises above the rest to be the most B part of that acronym. David quickly realizes what's happening here and well, okay, side note. Ever since making that New Order Joy Division joke in the beginning, I have had the chorus to the New Order song True Faith on repeat in my head, and now I think I know a little bit what it must be like to be a scanner in a busy place getting all overwhelmed because it's like all I can think about, but I'm trying to read this and be funny. I don't know. So David used to think that the day would never come, that he'd see delight in the shade of the morning sun, and even while getting cloak and daggered by all these bad guys in suits. Long story short, David runs away to his parents, Ma and Pa Kent, back home on the farm, and finds out at like the tender age of 28 that he's adopted and that his parents were the 2 good guy scanners from the first film. And that the new police chief he's been working for is the guy who killed them. Well, this is a perfectly fine film, and I'm not having a bad time. Any one of us who is into genre film could tell you, without ever even seeing this movie, what happens in this movie. It's as by the numbers as you can get. I'm not sure why I expected something different from a guy who specializes in TV series adaptations of previous films. It's still worth a watch, but here's the thing. The good. They actually had, I guess, a logical, interesting continuation of the first film. It's not trying to be its own thing. It's trying to further the original story, and I appreciate that. Also, I can dunk on Quebec all day long, but all the outdoor shots are fucking gorgeous, and I think I could live there with no problem. Like, it looks like it never gets above 65 degrees there, and I'm so down for that. The bad. Minor squabble, but it's a little too much talky and not enough action. Also, they follow the formula for guy on the run from evil organization. They stick to that so strictly. Scanners 2 is going to get a B-. Absolutely worth a watch. And leads into the filmed nearly simultaneously Scanners 3, which makes me think we might have a Back to the Future situation here where 2 and 3 were filmed simultaneously, and 2 is pretty good, but 3 is just going to be a fucking pile of garbage. Sorry to anybody who loves Back to the Future 3 out there. I'm sorry to all 5 of you. I'll be back next week with Scanners 3. So until then, be good, everyone.
Oh, thanks, Joe. I've never seen Scanners 2, and don't plan on it anytime soon. Just saying. Saying is all. All right, let me find Scott's segment. This guy, man. And then if you're one of our good friends, a $10 subscription will get you essentially whatever you want. All you got to do is ask.
Yeah, politely for some of the stuff.
And then I'll make Chris do it.
And I'll ignore your emails and texts.
Hell, Chris will do that for free.
Hey.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
All right, here we go.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott.
He's back, baby.
And I have a big problem. But before I tell you about that, I guess I better let you know how you did reviewing those shitty movies from last show. And I have a feeling I'm gonna fucking kill it this week.
All right, fucking kill it. Let's go.
What was that first movie you covered last time?
Bog.
Awesome. I love swamp-based content. And obviously, there was a monster in the bog, too, doing very original bog monster type things to its victims.
They're both uninjured, but drained of their blood.
Sure.
Okay.
At least you got some interesting cinematic landscapes to enjoy during this one.
Isn't this beautiful? And it's like the most like uninspired scene of just this like stanky lake.
And after all that buildup, I'm sure the monster was well worth the wait, right? Right?
And then we finally get to see this monster. Chris, as a man who loves a good monster suit, or a good monster flick, tell me about this bog creature.
It was I gotta be honest, I fell asleep for part of this movie.
I did too.
Originally, I was going to give you a review of Bog, a pretty average grade, but instead, I'm going to give it a B+. And that's only because you were brutally honest.
Whatever.
So what's the next piece of cinematic trash you did?
Gothic and Lolita Psycho.
Wow, great title.
It's fun.
No, it's not.
Well, what is it?
A Japanese gore flick, which isn't even really that gory.
So it's not gory. So what is it?
It's a mini kaiju slasher.
Yeah. And it's quite boring.
It is.
So it's a not gory, boring mini monster movie. What was your favorite part?
The doorman, he's eating a bowl of spaghetti with a fork, but he's eating it like he's never eaten before.
Yeah.
And the shots are like right up on the mouth and seeing him shove the spaghetti into his mouth as fast as he can. And then also taking a smoke of a cigarette while the food's in his mouth, which disgusted me more than anything.
And the audio, it's overdone. It's hyper real. The slurping sounds.
That does sound wonderful. So I give the review also a B+. Honestly, I don't know why. Anyway, on to more important things, namely my big problem. And my problem is that I talked about so many things that I watched recently on last week's show that I don't have much anything new to talk about this week. So I guess I'll just give some final thoughts on a few things that I've mentioned before. For instance, I started the second part of the second season of The Lincoln Lawyer on your boy Netflix. They split this one up too, just like they did Stranger Things, which left us for several weeks on a cliffhanger, which I have to say
was annoying, but also kind of fun.
So far, I'm really digging this new season of Lincoln Lawyer. And I also finally finished the third and final season of Ted Lasso. And I think I finally get what all the hype was about. I finally understand Ted Lasso.
He wanted companionship or fish love, who knows?
No, I mean, maybe, but it's more about the heart and character building. I mean, sure, it has some quirky humor and some kind of like Marvel-esque one-liners pretty often, but to be honest, a lot of those hit pretty well for me. But it also has a cast of interesting characters that you not only want to know, but actually it takes the time to show you more, and so you do get to know them. And in my opinion, it's a very satisfying final season overall. Anyone that doesn't absolutely love the journey that most of these people go on during the course of this show need to either lower their fucking expectations or just stop fucking watching TV altogether.
Like, what the fuck do you want? Jesus Christ.
And as much as it hurts me that there's not going to be another season of Ted Lasso, most likely ever, at least they did a really good job, in my opinion, on that final episode and just really put their all into it.
No, it just made it hurt more.
It reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it just really takes the time to give most everyone their due and give you that happy ending that you never seem to build up the courage to ask for at the massage parlor.
He did one that I don't think I was very happy with.
Probably not, but that sounds about par for the course for you.
I think that's a good place to stop for this week. My little one just started kindergarten, so I have to get up at the ass crack of dawn to get through traffic in time to get her there, so I really need to get some sleep soon. Not to mention that Bill seems tired of listening to me talk and is ready for this segment to be over already.
It goes on for like at least, probably like legitimately like maybe like 5 minutes, but it feels like it goes on for an hour.
Yeah.
So until the next hour-long segment, peace and love, guys.
Ooh, butt stuff.
Stretching it out. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. If you'd like to follow us on social media, at OTCBill is me, and at Cthulhu is Christopher. You can also join our Facebook group. Follow us on YouTube. I think it's just outside the sentence YouTube, outside of I don't know. It's there if you're interested. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
No, that's fine.
Everyone enjoy the rest of their week. Bye.
Bye.